Hey everyone, my name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef. Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to the party. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious lasagna. It's actually my mom's lasagna recipe. We're going to make it in one of Pampered Chef's enameled cast iron pieces. And I'm also going to show you how to make Italian herb bread using one of our mixes. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to check the temperature of some water that I've measured out here. I've measured out 1 cup of water, and I'm gonna need that for the Italian herb bread mix. The water needs to be between 105 and 115. I'm using our thermometer here, and we're at like 164. So I just took this right out of my water cooler, which has a like a boiling water feature. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on that, and when it's at the right temperature, then we'll mix up the bread mix. But while we're waiting on that, what I wanna do is get our, had a little fruit fly flying around. I want to get our pasta for the lasagna ready to go. So we're going to cook this in our 3-quart micro cooker plus, and this is basically a pressure cooker for your microwave that you can use for starchy foods. So think pasta, potatoes, rice, things that would typically boil over in a traditional container in the microwave. This is going to keep that from happening. And so it actually has 2 different lids. So you have an inner lid and an outer lid, and we're gonna use both of those for this recipe. And instead of lasagna noodles, I'm just gonna use bow tie pasta. You can literally take whatever pasta you have in your pantry and use it for this recipe. Pour this in here. I actually don't ever use, or rarely do I use lasagna noodles. The reason is because it's just easier to mix everything in a bowl and pour it in the pan rather than doing a bunch of layers. It's just faster, it's just easier, and that's the way that I like to do it. But you can do this however way that you like. I'm gonna cover this pasta with water. So I'm not really measuring, I'm just covering the pasta with water. You don't want a lot of extra water, but you want enough water to cover the pasta. So then we're gonna place our inner lid right over the top. The outer lid goes on top of that. And then you see these little handles. We're gonna lock this in place. I'm gonna pop this in the microwave for about 12 minutes. So hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, 12 minutes. Dropped a towel on the floor. So while we're waiting on that, I'm gonna take a peek at my water. It's probably still too hot, so I'm just gonna keep an eye on that. And in the meantime, we're going to get our ground beef started on the stovetop. So I'm gonna use a medium heat, and this pan that I'm using here is one of my favorite pieces of cookware to cook with, actually. It is our 12-inch non-stick stainless skillet. This has a non-stick coating on the inside of the pan that keeps food from sticking to it, but it also has a stainless grid on top of that non-stick coating. And what that gives you the ability to do is sear your food without it sticking to the pan. I'm gonna use my mix and chop to start chopping and breaking up the pieces of our ground beef. I didn't add any oil to this pan just because there is gonna be some fat with this meat already. So it shouldn't stick, and that non-stick coating keeps that from happening, but certain foods you would want to add a little bit of oil to the pan. So I love the mix and chop because you basically twist it, so you're mixing and chopping at the same time. So we're gonna let this cook, and I will, every so often I will crumble that. And in the meantime, we're gonna get some of our other ingredients together for this recipe. So we're gonna be using jar pasta sauce for this, but you could use homemade pasta sauce, or if you're using our deluxe cooking blender to make your pasta sauce, that's fine too. For today, I'm just gonna use a regular pasta sauce. Now I have 2 jars here. The recipe only calls for 1, but I'll tell you, because I don't measure a whole lot of stuff, a lot of times I look at it and decide I want more sauce. So I have a second jar here, just in case. And I've got tomato, basil, and 4 cheese. I'm gonna start with the tomato basil, and if I need to add more sauce, then I'll add in that second jar. I'm gonna take our jar opener to open this jar, and this is something that you can actually mount underneath your cabinet. And if you do that, you can actually use 2 hands to slide this in and twist it to open. I'm gonna just hold this with my hands, slide it so it's tight, and then push away, and it pops that lid right off, okay? So So this is ready for when I need it. I'm gonna set it aside, and I'm gonna give our meat just a little bit more crumble so that this can cook. So this is like an 80-20 mix, so it's like 80% lean, so it's not gonna have a ton of grease, but we have our scoop and serve, and I'll be able to scoop this out and leave any grease behind. So for now, just give this a few more chops and a little bit of a mix. So I want to tell you guys about the specials for the party, and those will also be posted below this video so that you'll be able to see those, the specials for the month. When you spend $80 or more, you're going to get a free product with your order, and when you're in the cart shopping, it will prompt you when you hit $80 to add that gift to your cart. If you're close, it's going to tell you how much more you need to spend in order to reach that level to get the free gift. When you spend $150, you're going to get free shipping on your order. All of our orders ship directly to the customer. So when you place your order on the party, it's going to process right away, and it's going to ship out to you and come direct to your house. If you don't hit $150, the shipping is $7.95. So it's still really, really reasonable, especially since our products, a lot of them are really heavy, and what the actual shipping charges would be a lot more. So let me check our temperature here. All right, so we're getting there. We're at 135, so we need to wait just a little bit longer. For this recipe, we're gonna use mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese. I love lots of cheese, so that's absolutely something that I am not gonna measure today. I'm gonna show you a few of those, show you a few products. I'm all tongue-tied today. Show you a few products that are great for shredding cheese. And I'm gonna show you an appliance that you can use to do that. What I wanna do really quickly, while I'm waiting on that water to lower the temperature, I want to talk to you about our Taste Bud subscription. So if you're not familiar with Taste Buds, this is a monthly subscription from Pampered Chef, and I love getting this. Even though I'm a consultant, I still love getting this, even though I have all the seasonings already in my cabinets. I don't really need the pouches that come with this, but a lot of times I use them for prizes, but I love the recipes and the community that I have access to online. So let me show you a little bit more about the Taste Buds. So every month you're gonna get 4 recipe cards, 3 for the recipes that are featured with the seasonings, and 1 theme card. And on the back of the theme card, it has other ways to use your seasonings. So variety of different options. So in this particular one, you're gonna get 3 surprise seasonings every single month. For this theme, it uses ranch, and we actually have 2 exclusive seasonings, the honey sriracha and a Parmesan. Right now, at the time of this recording, those are not available for purchase, but I absolutely hope Pampered Chef adds those to our line. All right, let's give this a little bit more chop. We're gonna actually add another subscription product to our ground beef, just to add a little bit more nutrition to this meal. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. I'm gonna get this crumbled up here. All right, let's check our water and see where we are. All right, just a few more degrees to go on that. Now, when I'm finished browning this meat, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna add some of our super veggie enrichables. Now, if you're not familiar with Pampered Chef's enrichables, I love these because it boosts the nutrition in the recipes that you are making. So you can use this in drinks and smoothies. You can add it to pasta, rice, oatmeal, and soup. You can add it to ground meat and meat substitutes. You can even add it to batters and doughs, sauces, spreads, dressings, and dips. So you can use this for so many things. So this is super veggie, and there are 32 scoops in this size, and I believe this is the smaller of the 2 that we have. So 1 scoop is equivalent to 1 serving of vegetables. And so I personally use this a lot for things that my family is going to eat and not complain about, because it gives them a little bit more vegetables in their meals. So we're gonna add some of this to the ground beef in just a little bit. So if you have questions about this, just let me know. We have some other enrichables products. We have kale and fiber, and we also have pea protein. I love using both of those on a regular basis. So if you have any questions about how to use them or anything else, just let me know. And I do like to point out that these are plant-based ingredients. They're vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and made without nuts. So much good stuff in here and none of the stuff that you don't want. All right, so our meat is getting nice and brown. So we're getting close there. We're gonna go ahead and mix up our bread. I feel like we're probably close to where we need to be. Yep, and I realized I didn't quite get 1 cup, so I'm gonna put just a tiny bit of tap water in here, and that'll actually lower the temperature just a little bit. So let's go ahead and mix up the bread mix. Now, this is the Italian herb bread mix from Pampered Chef. This is so quick and so easy. All you have to do is combine the bread mix with warm water. You're gonna let it rise. You're gonna cover it and let it rise for 2 hours. After that, you're gonna knead the dough on a floured surface for 30 seconds, and then place it on a stone or a baking sheet that's dusted with flour or cornmeal. You're gonna cover that and let it rest for 1 hour, and then preheat the oven to 450, and you can make a few shallow cuts on the top of the dough and bake it on the middle rack for about 15 to 20 minutes. So you have delicious homemade tasting dough from a mix. All right, give that beef just a little bit more stirring. I'm gonna spray my bowl that I'm gonna use with our kitchen spritzer. So this has some vegetable oil in here. You're gonna just pump this so that it's nice and tight. It sprays like an aerosol, but it's not. Oops. So I like to spray the bowl, it just makes it a little bit easier, keeps things from sticking. And we're gonna use this pump again for our lasagna, so I'm just gonna set that aside. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our shears, open up this bread mix, and this has all the seasonings and everything already in there. Smells so good. You're gonna love this. All right. We're gonna add this water. Let's see what our temperature is now. Perfect. We're at 117. I'm gonna pour this in there. And then, where did I put my, oh, it's right here. I was looking for this. This is our scoop and spread. I like to use this on thick doughs and batters because you have a hard side and you have a flexible side. So I tend to use this side the most when mixing doughs because it gives you, you're able to use a lot of pressure with this if you need to. So if you have something that gets really thick and can sometimes be a little bit hard to stir, that's a great thing. This one's super easy to stir though and get everything incorporated. I'm gonna just give our meat just a little bit more crumbling. You're almost finished on this, and I'm using this on a medium heat. You could certainly use this on high heat if you wanted to go a little bit faster. Just make sure you're careful not to overheat and overcook when you do that. And I would probably not go more than like medium high, but right now I'm just doing medium. So we have just a few more pink pieces there. So you see how I can kind of grab this like this and I can just give it some little force there. All right, and these mixing bowls that you're gonna see me use today, these are our glass mixing bowls. I'm gonna get all this mixed up. All right. There we go. And that's all we have to do really. What we're gonna do is put a cover on this and let it rise for 2 hours. Knead it a little bit, let it rise again, and then put it in the oven. So this is our bread mix. Smells so good, you guys. This is our stretch fit silicone cover. These come as a set of 3 and the bowls come as a set of 3. So you get 3 size bowls, 3 size lids, and they are awesome. They also have this little vent that you can open up if you're using this in the microwave or in the oven. So they're silicone, so they are safe for that. I'm gonna set this aside. All right, let's check on our beef here. Almost done. So again, this is the 12-inch nonstick stainless skillet. Comes with a glass lid. I'm just not using the lid right now, but it is included. These are my favorite pieces of cookware to use. We have a great nonstick line that also has removable handles, and both lines of cookware are dishwashers. All right, so this is almost done. Let me grab the pasta from the microwave. All right, I grabbed a trivet because I didn't have one handy. So this is what we cooked our pasta in, and you want to be really careful when you're removing the lids because this is obviously really hot. So what I like to do is take the top lid off first, and if there's any liquid, just kind of tilt that off. And then you're going to want to use a knife or something that you can fit in here, the scissors are right here, to take this lid off right here. Now, this pasta looks great. So we've got wonderful cooked pasta. I actually think I'm going to pop this in for just a couple more minutes. Usually 12 to 16 minutes is good. I just don't want it to get mushy. I want it to be really al dente. So let me pop this in for like maybe 4 more minutes. All right, so we'll wait a few more minutes on that. Looks like our beef is pretty much done. There are a couple of little pink pieces in here. Don't stress about this because this is gonna cook in the oven. So if you have a couple little pieces that are pink, don't worry about it. It'll finish cooking in the oven. I'm gonna turn this off and just let that sit for just a few minutes. There we go. I do wanna tell you that if you make pasta and you have leftovers, you can always spray it with a little bit of oil or put a little bit of melted butter in there to coat it so that it doesn't stick together. You can refrigerate that for another recipe. So one of the things, I have one child who doesn't like any sauce on their pasta, and so what I'll actually be doing when I serve this to my family for dinner, I will make a second batch of pasta so that I have enough for him to eat totally plain pasta. So the things that we do for our kids, right? But when I do that, I end up with extra pasta. And so a lot of times I like to make pasta salad, and you can just use whatever you have in the refrigerator. So like if I have leftover chicken from a meal, I like to use that. Leftover vegetables, if you have leftover bacon from breakfast, things like that, you can just crumble it up. You can use ranch dressing, any kind of vinaigrette dressing, or you can use mayonnaise. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. So, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to transfer our beef from this skillet into this large bowl right here. I'm going to be using my scoop and serve. We have too many products, you guys, and so many have similar names. So scoop and serve. So you can see how I can just drain off. I'm just going to tap this a little bit and add this in. Let me get a spoon here. Since I'm cooking on the side of my countertop and not on my stovetop, I want to make sure I don't knock any of this on the floor. However, my dog laying down there would really appreciate it if I did. All right, so we're just going to scoop all of this out, and we're going to mix this with the pasta sauce that we already opened. And when the pasta is done, I will stir that in, and then we'll get our cheese mixtures all ready to go. All right, so I've got almost all of this out, and I'm leaving the fatty grease behind. There we go. You could also strain this in one of our stainless colanders if you want. Help this in here. All right. There we go. Just a little bit more. I don't want to slosh this around, so I'm being extra careful here. Let's see. Okay, tiny bit more. I'm gonna switch hands. I don't know why I was using it that way. There we go. All right, I'll put the scoop and drain in the sink. Let me move this skillet out of the way. All right, so now we have our ground beef. I'm gonna add the Super Veggie enrichables to this. It does come with a little scoop, which I have in the bag, but I'm gonna use my tablespoon. I'm actually gonna do 2 tablespoons of this. And we're gonna mix this up. And this is like undetectable. You can't taste it, you can't see it in this recipe. Now, depending on what you're putting it in, you might be able to see it, but most things, you're not gonna even know that it is there. I like to, excuse me, I like to use this when I make muffins for my kids, because they eat muffins like they're going out of style, and give them some extra veggies, and I also put pea protein in as well. All right, so my pasta is done, so let me grab that, and then I'll show you a little bit more. Y'all hang tight. Okay. Let's see here. Take this one off first. Occasionally these will stick together, but usually they don't. So you have to get that inner lid out. I'm gonna put the outer lid back on, and I'm gonna lock this lid. And let's see if you guys can, I don't know if you can see over here. I've got some other things in the way, but I'm just gonna strain this right over the sink. I don't know if you can see that as well as I would like for you to. There we go. But hopefully you get the idea. All right. So now we've got perfect al dente pasta. So I'm gonna pour that in here. Move this over here. Give this a mix. And then we're gonna add in the pasta sauce. All right, so I've already got our jar of pasta sauce open. Toss this in and use the scraper to get it all out. I love all of our scrapers. They are dishwasher safe. Most of them I've had my entire career with Pampered Chef, which is over 22 years, and they don't stain. As long as you wash them in the dishwasher, they won't melt when you're cooking with them. You can put them on the stovetop and just leave them sitting in the pan. They're heat safe to 675 degrees. All right, let's see if we're gonna need more pasta sauce. Probably. So we'll scoop this around. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add the other jar of pasta sauce. And I'm gonna use the jar opener again. Whoops, I'm too far away from it. There we go. Needed a little more leverage. Pour this in. Mix this around. I'm just going to the bottom of the bowl to get this all coated. All right, I'm gonna add the rest of this in. Get my other scraper. So I used about 2.5 pounds of beef. So that's how much meat I'm working with. I don't think I told you guys that. Mix this together. All right, and then we just need to get our cheeses together, because you cannot have lasagna or any Italian food, in my opinion, without cheese, right? All right, so what we're gonna do, let me set this aside. We're gonna mix up a few ingredients in this small bowl. So now you've seen all 3 size glass bowls. We're gonna use cottage cheese, oregano, parsley, salt, and Parmesan cheese. So we're gonna start off with the cottage cheese and our seasoning. So I've got about 1 cup of cottage cheese. And if cottage cheese grosses you out, so you can substitute it with ricotta if you want. I personally am not a huge fan of ricotta, and my mom always used cottage cheese to make this, and I just love it. This is more of what I like to call a southern lasagna. So you guys, if you don't know me, I'm from Georgia, and so this is kind of like a southern lasagna. It's not like your traditional Italian lasagna. If you wanted to make it a little more Italian, you could use ricotta, and you could do half beef and half sausage, which I've done that as well. But I've got 1 cup of cottage cheese. You pull the plunger down of our mini measure-all cup to fill it to the measurement that you need. Scrape this out. Oops, got a little crumb on there. Get that off. Okay, we're gonna add our salt. So this is 1 teaspoon of salt. I am going to add in a half a teaspoon of oregano and a half a tablespoon of parsley flakes. Set this aside. We're going to use one of our graters here to grate the Parmesan cheese. You can do this a couple of ways. So we have a container that this grater will fit on top of, like this, and you can actually shred into the container if you like. We have the fine grater on one side and the extra coarse grater on the other. I'm gonna just use this on the cutting mat. It's up to you how you wanna use this. You can also use this with the food holder. You would cut your food to fit into this little the little hopper, and then put the food pusher here. And as you are sliding up and down, you're able to shred your food. For Parmesan, I don't use the food holder. I'm just gonna hold the wedge of Parmesan cheese and I'm gonna just shred over the cutting board. So I'll turn it this way so you guys can see what I'm working with here. And I'm actually gonna show you our Flex Plus. It's a really, really awesome appliance. We're gonna use the food processor part of that for our mozzarella cheese. I've actually gone ahead and pre-shredded a good bit of that just for the sake of the noise. I wanted to have most of that already done, but I am gonna show you how I did it. So we're gonna shred this Parmesan. I do not measure cheese. I go by what it looks like. You can never have too much cheese. I always say if you wanna be a good cook, anytime you have a recipe with cheese or chocolate, double whatever it says to include, and whatever you make is going to be delicious. All right, so I've got cottage cheese, parsley flakes, oregano, salt, and Parmesan cheese. Mix this together. All right, now, when my mom makes this, she does use lasagna noodles and she layers all of the ingredients. But I said earlier, I don't really like to do it that way. It just seems to take a little bit more time. So I actually mix all of this together. So I'm gonna start with half of it and just gently mix this in to get it all incorporated into this mixture. This recipe is so good, you guys. You're gonna love it. And I will post the recipe in the party so that you can access that. And if you are not already a member of my recipe community, I hope that you will join. You can find it at theflipflopchef.com and thousands of recipes, and I also have a giveaway every Friday. All right, so let's mix this in. Wash my hands real quick. I can't wait to show you the pan that we're gonna cook this in. All right, so just gotta gently mix this. So again, I'm kind of pulling up from the bottom because this bowl is also really full. Oh, I can't wait till dinner time. This is something that you could also make ahead. So like, it's morning time right now at my house. So at the time of filming this video, it's not dinner time, but you can keep this in the bowl and layer it all together later when you're ready. You could even make this the day before and then just add it to the pan and put it in the oven. All right, so I think this is good. I'm gonna make a little bit of space. So I'm gonna move my burner here. There we go. All right, so move my burner out of the way. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take our rectangle enameled cast iron roasting pan. Now, you guys, this pan is amazing because it comes with a rack. So if you wanted to put a large chicken or a couple of, or several Cornish hens in here, you could do that. Or you could even put a turkey in here. So if you are the one making the turkey on Thanksgiving, this will hold up to a 15-pound turkey. And you would want to place that on top of the rack. For this particular recipe though, I am not using the rack. So I'm just gonna set this aside and I wanna give you guys a look at what this looks like. So isn't this beautiful? So this is our cast iron casserole dish, and I'm gonna spray it with a little bit of oil using our kitchen spritzer, just like I used for the bowl with the bread. You're gonna pump the pressure into the bottle. When it feels nice and tight, you should have enough pressure built up, and this will spray like an aerosol can. Make sure I get that covered well. When you're done using this, you want to release the oil. So burp the bottle and then put the lid back on. All right. I always find a way to inhale some of that. What we're gonna do is I'm going to pour out half of our meat mixture. And again, I'm not measuring anything, I'm just estimating here. Spread this across the bottom of the pan. And then we need to get our mozzarella. So I'm so excited to show you guys the Flex Plus. All So I've gone ahead and let me clean up my mess. And I've pre-shredded some of the cheese, but I want to show you this product. So the Flex Plus is 3 appliances in 1. So let me grab my container. I'm going to show you everything that comes with this. So I just recommend getting a container to put in your cabinet, wherever you're going to store this, so that you have all the pieces together. So this is just a container from IKEA. You could get a basket at the dollar store. You could get something anywhere really. You could get a Rubbermaid container, but it's nice to just have this all in one place. So the Flex Plus is an immersion blender, food processor, and hand mixer all in one. So I want to show you all of these pieces. So let me just take them all out of the box here, and I'm going to show them all to you and tell you about them. The only one I'm going to use for this recipe is going to be the food processor. Let's see here. All right. So save the best for last, right? So you're going to get this Flex Plus cooking guide. With your purchase, it tells you how to use all the attachments, how to charge the battery, all of the things, because this is a battery operated product, so you do not need any cords, which means you can use this anywhere that you want. So love having a cooking guide for all of our appliances. I'm going to show you the products that we're not using first. So the immersion blender is one that I want to talk to you about first. This piece actually controls all 3 appliances. So to use this, you're just going to attach it to the appliance that you want to use. So in this case, we're going to attach this to the immersion blender. The battery is separate, and you always want to add the battery after you have all the pieces put together. And you get 2 batteries. So the other one that I have is actually on the battery charger. Each battery has a 30-minute life. And so if you think about how long you're using these in your kitchen, you are not going to use them for more than, seconds or just a few minutes. And so if we use our imagination, you could put something in here and you could use your immersion blender to make it. So to give you a couple of ideas on what you can do in this, I've actually used this to make the blueberry balsamic vinaigrette. You can make your own homemade homemade mayonnaise as well as homemade marinade. I made the chipotle marinade that's in our Flex Plus cooking guide. It's delicious, but I will warn you, it definitely comes with it packs a punch. So this one will blend, emulsify, froths, purees, and whips. You can make dips, dressings, lattes, marinades, mayonnaise, milkshakes. You can make sauces like pesto, chimichurri, hollandaise, béarnaise, barbecue. You can smooth your gravy. You can make smoothies and soups. So many different things that you can use the immersion blender for. To get any of these to come on, there is a little safety button right here. When I push that, you see how this lights up. You can use the plus or the minus on here to increase the speed or lower the speed. So this is how it works. Push the button on the side, and I'll show you guys on the camera so you can see how this is spinning. So this is the immersion blender. For safety, always take the battery off first, and I will set this aside. Our blending container comes with a cup, so you can use this as a storage container as well. The hand mixer is what I want to show you next. So this is the piece to operate the hand mixer. You can choose whisks or beaters. So whichever one you'd like to use, make sure that you do not have the power adapter on here when you're putting your whisks or your beaters in. Oops, let's see what's happening here. Whoops. Let me look at something here. It says pampered, not perfect, right? Let me try that again. Okay. I think I might actually have a defective beater. I haven't used the beater. I've only used the whisk. So I'm going to put these in. That has like a little piece on there that the other one doesn't have. So it says pampered, not perfect, so I'm not really worried about it. Add these 2 in. I'll get Pampered Chef to send me a new beater. And then we're going to attach the power supply to this. And this is going to, whoops, I did it upside down. There we go. And then we're going to attach the battery, and then I'm going to turn the safety, and then you can turn this on up here. And check this out. So this is how you can use this as a hand mixer, and it has multiple speeds. So depending on what you're making, you can adjust the speed. Take the battery off, take the power supply out, and then to release the beaters, you're going to press this button right here, and it's going to release those for you. So I will set these aside, and I'm going to set my little beater out so I make sure I get a replacement one. All right, so let's talk about the food processor. Cheese is my favorite ingredient, so I'm excited about this. So I've already shredded some of our mozzarella cheese. So I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna put some of this, let me grab another scraper. Oops. I always think I grab enough and I didn't this time. So we're gonna put some of this cheese over the top and then I'll show you how I shredded this. So we're gonna just spread this out. And remember, just double the cheese. I let this get a little bit room temperature since I did this ahead of time, so it's clumped together a little bit because there's no cellulose powder, which is what you get when you buy your cheese pre-shredded at the grocery store. So it's really important to shred your own cheese because you don't get that added ingredient. So I'm gonna just spread all of this on top of the first layer of my lasagna. And then I'm gonna pour the rest of this right over the top and get all that out, and then I will spread it around. Love these scrapers. I'm a messy cook, so I have to wash my hands often. All right, spread this around. Oh, you guys, I love the smell of this. It's gonna be so good. A lot of our consultants are calling this the Rostagna pan because you can of course make your big lasagnas in here, but you can also do roasts and larger pieces of meat. All right, so let me show you how to use the food processor portion of this, or excuse me, the grating portion of the food processor. Now, this is the chopping blade and it fits down on top of the little post that's on the inside here. The post is removable and most of the pieces to this are gonna be dishwasher safe. I am using the grating blade, so always be careful when you're touching these blades because they do have sharp edges. So this is the slicing blade. I'm not gonna use this one today. And make sure however you store that isn't gonna be where you can cut yourself when you're reaching into that container. Now we're gonna add on the lid here. Now this has a locking lid, so you wanna make sure that you put it in so that it does lock. This is gonna be our food chute here, and you wanna let gravity do most of the work for this, so I'm just gonna place this in there, and if I need the food pusher, I will grab it. We're gonna attach the power supply to this, and then attach the battery. Now, unless a recipe, if you're using one of Pampered Chef's recipes, unless it tells you to start with a lower speed, just go ahead and automatically use the highest speed on the food processor. So I'm gonna make sure that this is up to the 5. Press the button, and I don't even need to put much pressure on here at all. But you can see you're gonna let gravity do most of the work. So for time's sake and noise sake, I'm gonna finish this off camera, but I wanna show you guys what we have so far. So I've got some more cheese there, but check this out. So we've got our nice shredded cheese, and I'll put the rest of this cheese on top of our lasagna, and then I'm gonna bake this. I probably should cheat and check my mom's recipe, and I have it underneath this heavy lasagna pan now. Let's see. Oh, it says pampered, not perfect, right? I hid my recipe. So you're gonna bake this at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. She recommends covering this with foil, and that is great because then you won't burn your cheese on the top. So cover it with foil so that your cheese melts, but it doesn't burn on the top. So this is my mom's lasagna, and I have the Italian bread that we made from Pampered Chef's Italian bread mix, and I will let that rise for 2 hours, and then I'll knead the dough, let it rise for another hour, and then I'm actually gonna just put it in the refrigerator until right before I'm ready to make it tonight for dinner for my family. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this demo. Hope you enjoyed seeing some of the new products. This is obviously a recipe that I make a really nice big mess with. If you are interested in hosting your own party, I would love the opportunity to help you, and our host will get credit for that too. When our host gets 3 parties booked from her party, she actually gets a big bonus. So if you're interested in having a party, my biggest goal is to make hosting with me very, very easy. Doesn't matter where you live, we can do a virtual party online, and Pampered Chef has their own party platform, which is where you are watching this video now. And it's super easy. All you have to do is send your invitations. I set up the invitation for you and I'll walk you through it. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes for you to do that. And after that, I pretty much take care of everything else. So hosting is easy. Ask your host, see what she says, and the rewards are great. When you host a party with me, you're gonna get free products, half price items, a 60% off monthly special, and sometimes we have other great deals going on, and I would love the opportunity to help you. So I didn't get to share this at the beginning, but I am from I live in Sarasota, Florida, but I am from Georgia, and I've been with the Pampered Chef for over 22 years, and I'm a mom to 9-year-old twin boys, and so I know how chaotic life can be, and having recipes like this lasagna that you can make ahead of time and put it in the oven and be ready when your family comes back from whatever sporting event or wherever you might be, or you can pop it in the oven when you get back. So I love having great tools and great recipes to make cooking easy. Believe it or not, I don't like the cooking part, but I absolutely love the eating part, and so that's kind of what gets me to the part that I love the most. So thank you for taking time to watch this with me today, and I can't wait to hear from you and see what I can do for you next. Take care.